On Earth, mountains have always been symbols of human endurance, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of the impossible. From the towering peaks of the Himalayas to the frozen summits of Antarctica, climbers have risked their lives to stand where few ever will. But what if the ultimate challenge wasn't on Earth? Somewhere, 140 million miles away, on the surface of Mars, stands the tallest mountain in the solar system. At 3 times the height of Mount Everest, this colossal shield volcano rises over 13 miles, 22 kilometers, into the Martian sky. It is so massive that if you stood at its base, its peak would be beyond the horizon. So, the question is, could a human being climb Olympus Mons? To understand the challenge, we first need to grasp just how enormous Olympus Mons really is. At 72,000 feet, 22 kilometers tall, it dwarfs Mount Everest, which stands at 29,000 feet, 8.8 kilometers. Its base spans 370 miles, 600 kilometers across, meaning it would cover the entire state of Arizona or almost all of France. Unlike Everest, which has jagged cliffs, deep crevasses, and deadly ice walls, Olympus Mons is a shield volcano. This means its slopes are relatively gentle, averaging only a 5-degree incline. If it were on Earth, you could drive a car up to the top. So, does this mean climbing Olympus Mons would be easy? Not exactly. The mountain itself might not be steep, but Mars presents an entirely different set of challenges. If climbing Everest is a battle against altitude, cold, and exhaustion, then Olympus Mons is a war against an alien world. First, there's the atmosphere, or rather, the lack of it. Mars has less than 1% of Earth's atmospheric pressure, meaning you couldn't breathe, and your blood would start to boil without a pressurized suit. Then there's the temperature. On a warm summer day at the equator of Mars, temperatures can reach 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius. But at night, they plummet to minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 73 degrees Celsius, cold enough to freeze exposed skin instantly. Mars also has frequent dust storms, some of which can last for months, covering the entire planet in a choking haze of fine red dust. If one were to hit during your climb, visibility would drop to 0, and the dust could clog your equipment. And then, there's the problem of gravity.
Mars has only 38% of Earth's gravity. This means that if you weigh 150 pounds, 68 kilograms, on Earth, you'd weigh just 57 pounds, 26 kilograms on Mars. This lower gravity could make the climb much easier, allowing a person to carry heavier equipment and reducing fatigue. Imagine being able to leap 3 times higher with each step. Every movement would require far less energy than it does on Earth. However, this advantage comes with a hidden danger. Lower gravity means that your muscles and bones will weaken over time. Astronauts who spend months in space experience muscle atrophy and bone density loss due to microgravity. If you were climbing Olympus Mons after months of travel to Mars, your body might already be weaker than when you left Earth. Even if the climb itself is not as steep as Everest, there's another issue: distance. From the base to the summit, a climber would need to cover at least 200 miles. That's roughly the distance from New York City to Washington, D.C. Except, instead of roads, you're walking over ancient lava flows, volcanic rock, and deep fissures. With an advanced spacesuit and supply system, a human might be able to cover 10 to 15 miles per day. That means it would take at least 2 weeks of continuous climbing to reach the top, assuming everything goes perfectly. And that's a big assumption.
The biggest threat of all? Isolation. Climbing Everest is dangerous, but at least if something goes wrong, there's a chance of rescue. On Olympus Mons, you are completely alone. The nearest help is on another planet, and any distress signal you send to Earth would take at least 13 minutes to arrive, followed by another 13-minute delay for any response. Mars also presents unknown geological hazards. Olympus Mons is a volcano, and while it's considered dormant, there's no telling what dangers might lie beneath its surface. Unstable ground, sudden fissures, or even pockets of trapped gas could make the climb far riskier than it appears. And then, there's the psychological toll. 2 weeks of endless walking in a featureless red landscape, with nothing but dust, rocks, and the distant black sky above. No sound except your own breathing inside a suit. No sense of scale, just an infinite horizon stretching before you. Even the most seasoned climber could face hallucinations, confusion, and deep psychological strain. If someone did reach the top of Olympus Mons, what would they see? Unlike Everest, where climbers are greeted with a view of the Earth's curvature and the peaks of the Himalayas, the summit of Olympus Mons is so vast that it would feel almost flat. From the edge of its massive caldera, a volcanic crater 50 miles, 80 kilometers wide, the planet below would stretch out in all directions. The sky would be a deep, dark blue, almost black, even during the day. And above, the tiny pale dot of Earth would hang in the sky so distant, yet still home. It would be the greatest climb ever achieved by a human being.